As we welcome in former Vancouver Canuck and TSN hockey analyst, Mr. Frank Corrado, who apparently doing some HVAC work. Hi.
Whoa, interesting. If it looks like I'm in my furnace room, it's because I am in my furnace room.
Have you been banished?
Essentially, it's more of a self-banishing. How do I explain this? Well, okay. I have 21-month-old twins that are sick because they've been at daycare for the last 6 weeks now. So they're bringing home back-to-back illnesses. And now they're refusing their nap, which I was just upstairs rocking one for about an hour. She couldn't get down. The other one, my wife finally got down. I don't know how. And in order to make the hit, my wife had to come rescue me. And I looked at her, I said, I don't know where I'm going to do the hit from. I don't know where I'm going to talk. So as I looked around the rooms in my house, I said, I know one place that might be quiet. So I'm in the furnace room. I hope this is quiet. If I, like, the definition of in one doesn't even begin to describe what's going on over here.
So, by the way, your acoustics are spectacular.
Yeah, they are.
And I'm not surprised because, as Matt knows, in the NHL playoffs for years, I would record an end-of-night playoff wrap-up, the night on ice for NHL.com.
Who could forget?
And my family can attest that we'd be in the middle of a movie or watching another game or something like that, and I would have to pop up, and I would go where? I would go straight into my crawl space right beside my furnace. As long as the furnace wasn't humming too loud at the time, but, you know, it's Vancouver. We don't get that cold.
This is honestly, we love our podcast listeners, but this is honestly why you should consume the show on YouTube.
You do have to see
Frankie's furnace room.
I did a hit in Ottawa radio. The first time I discovered I should use my furnace room, I did a hit for Ottawa radio. So I sent it to JR and Lloydie, and I just took like a video. I had some guy message me saying, I can't believe you're using an EnviroSense. What the hell? I thought you made more money than that. I'm like, dude, you think I picked the water tank? Like it was here.
I love it. Right. Getting some tips. Oh, you got some poly B piping back there. You got to get that replaced.
You're like, okay, come fix it then. What the hell do you want from me?
Yeah. Frank, getting down to business here with the
more construction coming up in a little bit later in the hit. We're going to get into construction.
We'll get you briefed. Hey, and stay tuned for his deck build this spring. Getting down to business with the Vancouver Canucks. More and more fans here are getting disgruntled with this ownership group and drawing the connection, with this management group and drawing the connection to the previous regime, particularly the Jim Benning era when he was alone, apart from Trevor Linden. From afar, from the outside looking in, Ray Ferraro used to call the Benning thing the no plan. What are you seeing, and do you see any parallels?
Yeah, for sure, because we'll see what happens with this year's moves, right? Like nothing's really happened yet, but things leading into this year, I'm not going to say it's the no plan. The plan is we're going to try and keep throwing things at this group and see if we can keep it competitive, but you're not keeping it competitive because it's not competitive yet. So it does have the same kind of feel that like, we're just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks. And that's what would frustrate people. And, you know, like you guys know, I don't live in Vancouver. Like I live in Toronto. So, you know, if I'm talking to people about, you know, hockey in general and what they're kind of seeing and thinking, first of all, it seems like it's a sad state of Canadian teams right now. And the Vancouver Canucks are one of them, but it's right across the board. Like it's underwhelming basically everywhere you go. To certain degrees, some better, some worse. And then in Vancouver, like most people would be like, man, I don't even know what the hell they're doing over there. Like that would be the just kind of like generic hockey fan view of the Vancouver market. And they're like, yeah, it seems really bad that they're going to lose Quinn Hughes. Like he's a superstar. He's one of the best players that's ever played for the franchise. And so, you know, if people are kind of looking at your organization saying, that's a shame, like things should be better there, then they probably should be better there. But this is the path that they've kind of gone down now. And at some point, we're going to get to that fork in the road where you have to make a decision on what to do. And any way it goes, like I can't figure out, or I can't imagine how it's going to be a good resolution when you get to that fork in the road. Trade, keep, whatever you want to do, because all signs point to best defenseman in franchise history at some point not going to be a member of this team.
If you have Demko and Pettersson returning to the lineup tomorrow, and all signs point to that, with Höglander already back,
Pettersson made it this weekend, more likely.
There is a sense that this team in the next 2 games then could be the healthiest they have been all season long. Do you think management will lean on that and say, we have to give them a chance now? We have to give them a chance to sort of see what they are.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, when you're talking about trying to keep competitive and you're getting guys back from injury, the only issue is, like, how much does that really help? And are you trying to leapfrog too many teams? Like, the points discrepancy between them and Utah is not astronomical. 6 points is not the end of the world at this point. But when your team loses 5 out of 6 and you're like, they could probably lose another, 3 out of 4 in a couple weeks. Like, it's just, it's hard if you're really trying to be positive about things. I get it. Like you're saying, we got guys coming back, but even when everyone was healthy, even when there's been injuries for sure. Like it's been hard to have a full lineup, but I mean, even when you had one player injured and it was just Höglander, you were still not generating enough offense. You were still leaky defensively. Like it's just, there's no point in the season where you can look at and say they were dialed in and the underlying numbers supported what was actually happening production-wise, and it was all rolling together. Like there's always this, something just doesn't jive with the way this team plays.
Brendan Shanahan's name has come up here. Frank, you played under the Shanahan regime. You saw the Shana plan firsthand all your years in Toronto. If there is, in fact, a managerial change that is coming down the pipeline here in Vancouver, what would you make of Brendan Shanahan as candidate?
So, Shanny would be a polarizing guy here in Toronto based on the way things ended. But at the beginning of the quote-unquote Shana plan, everything really made sense. And the way he sort of made Toronto a safe environment for players to thrive individually, that's something. Like that really is something. He did a lot of good things for the organization. He made the necessary moves at the time based on where the team was, whether it was the coach that they brought in, some of the veteran players that they decided to keep around that you could have easily said, these guys are sort of tarnished with the prior regime's kind of odor. But no, they decided we're going to keep the right guys. We'll keep them around. We'll supplement them with the young guys. And they were one of the best regular season teams for many, many years. And the other thing that I do appreciate about Shanny is understanding where he was going to in Toronto and what had happened in the past, where someone would come in, they would have a plan, something would happen around the league, deviate from the plan. And Shanny said, it's not hard to come up with a plan. It's hard to keep a plan and have that vision in mind for a long time. And for better or worse, he did that. Like he kept the core 4 around. Like he was a big believer in these guys are going to do it. And the other thing that I truly believe he felt was when all these guys had their contracts come up, like it's hard enough playing in the NHL. He didn't want to add more unnecessary friction to players. It was, what do you need to be the best player? And we'll give it to you within reason. And you don't have to worry about fighting us and fighting the other team and all this kind of stuff. Like we're all going to work together. Ultimately, they never got over the hump in the playoffs. Some guys maybe stuck around a little too long, but he wanted to see it through. So when you talk about the no plan, I think if you're looking at Shanny, he's going to have a plan and he's going to stick to it. And he's not going to deviate and he's not going to pivot. And maybe that's something that this market would really appreciate.
I can appreciate people wanting to turn the page here and wanting to think about who's next like that. But the truth of the matter is, if Jim Rutherford and Patrick Allvin consummate a Quinn Hughes trade this year, they are going to be the management group next year. Like, right? You don't let that management group make the Quinn Hughes trade and then let them go. Like that doesn't where's the logic there?
Well, I guess weirder things have happened. But yeah, you're not wrong. Like it's a massive undertaking to make this kind of trade. Like it's not as easy as just like throwing some stuff into a trade simulator and see if it's going to happen. But yeah, like if you are going to task certain people with doing something and then they're not going to be able to see it through afterwards, then why'd you let them do it? Like why'd you let them
it's the subconscious it's the subconscious self-preservation that they will have in the background, that they are trading for their own preservation. And you don't even again, it doesn't have to be front of mind, but it's there that I'm making a trade that's going to benefit my longevity in this job. Meanwhile, you have to have somebody making it for the long term as well.
Well, the worst would be if they made the trade and then the pieces came back and they were completely underwhelming. And then what do you do? But you do need some time to see those pieces through, right? Like that's going to take a couple of years to really, outside of your, young NHL player that you think can be a superstar, that you should get back in this type of trade. But I don't get the sense that these guys would be going anywhere. They've kind of seen through the vision, and I'm not going to say like they took their marching orders, but like, I don't know, it feels like they're on the same page. They want to be on the same page, and they're doing the things that, they're supposed to be doing based on the position they're in. Maybe fans don't like that. Maybe people from the outside see it as you're not doing things, quote unquote, properly. But I think they're all kind of working in unison over there.
Yeah. Well, in terms of whoever makes this Quinn Hughes trade has to make some very difficult decisions in terms of what's available and what you feel is most important to address in a return. Is it that first, second line center? Do you want another horse left side defenseman? Because one of them, Quinn, is playing 30 minutes a night last night. Do you want more draft capital to leave those options open going forward? Frank, you tell me, like, what does a Quinn Hughes trade look like? How many pieces, what quality of pieces, and what should the Canucks be targeting in a Quinn Hughes return?
I mean, if I would want your blue chip center ice prospect, I would want a good young defenseman, and I'd want a first round pick. Like I know there's only this year and next year on the deal, so you're making the deal, and the other team's thinking, well, I don't even know how long I'm going to get this guy for. I guess unless you're New Jersey and you're like, well, we know that there's a possibility, more than a possibility, he would sign with us. But like if I'm using Detroit, for instance, right? It's like there's Danielson and Casper, there's Axel Sandin Pellikka, and there's got to be a first on the table. And so how do you turn that into the other organizations? Like if it's Philadelphia, I want Porter Martone. I probably want him more than I want Michkov. And then I'd have to look and see like who their young defenseman is. But like that's kind of what, I don't know, that's the template that I guess I'm following with this trade. Like it's okay to ask for too much when Quinn Hughes is a top 10 player in the NHL.
Is Casper Edvinsson in a first? Or Mercer, Nemec in a first enough? Both are either of those packages enough?
I would take the Casper Edvinsson in a first over the Nemec Mercer in a first, because I think Casper has more to offer than what he's shown this season, and Edvinsson is really good. Like he's going to be a big time defenseman for a long time. He already is. Like if you watch Detroit, they actually have to split up Seider and Edvinsson so they're not too top heavy on that top pair. So
and he plays a ton already. He plays so much.
He's a stud. Like for me, he's a better defenseman than Nemec already, and probably will be. And Casper's going to be, I think, a better player than Mercer. So I would like that deal. I'd be pretty happy getting Edvinsson back, but
that's enough, you think, for a trophy-winning defenseman? You're happy with that?
Well, what other options do you have? Like, you're never going to truly win it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you either got to make that trade or you're going to lose them when the time comes. So you have to make that trade.
Yeah. You can win it. I will disagree with you there. Ottawa won the Erik Karlsson trade. Colorado won the Matt Duchene trade.
In retrospect, in retrospect.
But in the moment it goes down, everybody goes, "Oh, the best player." I mean, it's kind of an elementary analysis, though. It's.
Well, you don't know. You just don't know. At the time of the trade, you know.
In terms of Nemec's right shot with more offensive upside than Edvinsson, right? But flip side, Mercer's a more established NHL scorer than Marco Kasper is. So I see where you guys are volleying between those. Pittsburgh's come up this week, Frank. Do you see Pittsburgh having the assets to be able to make a last ditch? Let's see if we can give Sidney Crosby and Gino one last go at it. Do you see Pittsburgh having the assets to make the deal?
Pittsburgh would have the assets if they wanted to make it happen, but I guess if you're Pittsburgh, is it worth losing Brunick or Kindle or, is that the avenue you want to go down? Because Pittsburgh's got to turn it over soon, and those guys are going to be big pieces of their future. Mm-hmm. So if you get Quinn Hughes for a year and a half, is it worth it for you? I don't think Pittsburgh, even though they would have the capital to make it happen, I just don't know if it makes sense for them. They're in a weird spot where they're playing well, but when push comes to shove, they're going to be a team that's fighting for a wild card spot at best. So that's a pretty big sacrifice on your future for a team that's going to be turning things over at some point, and you're really going to need those guys.
I guess they
have 5 defensemen, 30 plus.
Yeah. 5. I guess the prevailing wisdom there would be if it becomes clear that Quinn doesn't re-sign with them, then next year at the deadline they could move him and recoup some of those assets. I meant to talk about this last week with you, and I forgot. Shame on me. But it's now confirmed the Olympic ice will be 3.5 feet shorter than an NHL 200-foot ice surface. Frank, it will all be in the neutral zone, and Bill Daly says it's completely up to the players. If the players think it's unsafe to play, then we won't be going. Could you see any player saying that a reduced 3.5 feet in the neutral zone?
Well, that was also in relation to the quality of the ice, too.
Yeah.
They're also worried about that. Yeah.
No, they'll play on a pile of slush to go play over there, right?
Exactly.
But the 3.5 feet, it is going to be in the neutral zone. So I was thinking back on my time in the American Hockey League, and a lot of those buildings are older, so they're not quite built to today's standards. And the one that popped into my mind was Binghamton. And so the Sens farm team used to play there. The Devils farm team used to play there. Me being in Utica, we played Binghamton. And even when I was in Toronto and Belleville, we played Binghamton all the time. So I have a lot of experience playing in that building. And it was never the big teams that scared me in that building. Well, scare is a bit of a harsh term, but it was never the big teams that you worried about. It was the fast teams.
That's what I've been saying, yeah.
It's not about clogging it up. It's about when you get a step on someone, they have a little less time now to recover. So when they were flying, that's when it became difficult to play in that building. So if you're talking about, well, you got to go bigger, you got to go stronger. No, you got to go faster. And is it going to make a huge difference? It's not going to make a massive difference, but for the time that it does in a tournament like that, when the margins are going to be slim and you don't know what breaks you're going to get, you gotta find a little extra speed there, because it's coming to the net just a little bit quicker once you get a step on someone.
All right, buddy. We'll let you get back to your heating and air. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
And let's hope the girls are down. Thanks for the time, Frank. Until next week.
Okay, boys. Have a good one.